Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're totally breaking down the unfiltered, behind-the-scenes reality of BTS's massive post-concert live streams. After this grueling yet incredibly exhilarating tour, Jungkook and J-Hope both jumped online to connect directly with fans, literally right from their hotel rooms. And what we get in these broadcasts? Well, it isn't just some polished PR message. It's this raw, exhausted, and honestly super genuine look at what life is actually like for the biggest group in the world right after those stage lights go down. Okay. Let's dive into this because the energy right out of the gate is absolutely hilarious. You have Jungkook, right? He's literally just wrapped up a massive stadium show, logs on, and immediately starts battling the app's camera filters. The guy is exhausted, his hair is all in his face, and he's playfully complaining about the old-fashioned effects. It just sets the absolute perfect tone for this explainer. We aren't talking about pop perfection here. We're talking about the chaotic, super endearing reality of coming down from a huge adrenaline high.
Section 1, wrapping up the tour.
And this brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of what they just did. To really understand the headspace these guys are in, we have to look at exactly where they are. Both Jungkook and J-Hope had just gotten back to their hotel rooms after their final tour dinner, finally taking a breath and processing what they've accomplished over the last month. And the scale of it, it's just staggering. J-Hope was looking back at the journey and realized that, including their kickoff in Seoul, they had literally just completed 20 shows. 20. If you know anything about stadium tours, 20 shows back-to-back, especially with their intense level of choreography, is an absolute marathon. And the route itself was actually completely unexpected. J-Hope was reflecting on playing in Tampa, then hitting El Paso, which, by the way, he noted Coldplay had played, but it's definitely not your typical tour stop, then down to Mexico City, and finally wrapping the whole thing up in Las Vegas. The really big takeaway here, though, is how different this tour felt for them. Before their military service, their tours were often just this blur of immense pressure. But this time around, J-Hope noted it totally exceeded all their initial expectations, bringing this entirely new kind of freedom and excitement.
Section 2, behind-the-scenes hobbies.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the stark contrast it shows. With that new sense of freedom, what exactly do the members do during their downtime? We're peeling back the curtain here, and the reality might actually surprise you. J-Hope explicitly mentioned that during past tours, they were always so exhausted that literally every single free moment was dedicated entirely to sleeping, just resting. But on this current tour, it's a totally different story. They're actually seeking out high-energy activities, like playing pickleball, just to maintain their cardio and keep their bodies moving on rest days. Just look at how distinct their routines have become. It's like a giant puzzle of different personalities. You've got Jungkook splitting his time between working out and gaming. Jin is balancing intense show prep with, honestly, an unbelievable amount of PlayStation time. Meanwhile, V actually taught J-Hope how to play pickleball in just 30 minutes, and boom, it turned into their go-to cardio on days off. Oh, and RM? He's using his downtime to host these deep dive live streams breaking down their album. They've each found their own, totally unique way to stay grounded amidst all the chaos of life on the road. And of course, you just have to love the backstage interactions with the fans. While J-Hope was chatting, practicing his English, he was also reading comments live. And at one point, someone seemingly called him uncle. This prompted him to laughingly defend himself, saying, "I'm not your uncle, you can call me 38. It's just this great, lighthearted reminder that despite performing for tens of thousands of people, at the end of the day, they're still just scrolling through comments and joking around like anyone else. Section 3. Jin's incredible tour discipline. Let's move to and see how this builds. Because amidst all these different routines, there is one member whose backstage discipline literally broke Jungkook's brain. The group's oldest member, Jin. Jungkook was just utterly amazed by Jin's unbelievably efficient pre-show routine. So, Step 1, he warms up his voice. Step 2, he warms up his body. Step 3, a full-on exercise session. And Step 4, well, because he completes his main job prep so quickly, he somehow manages to carve out 2 to 3 solid hours strictly for playing video games right before the show even starts. It's wild. And we are not just talking about casual gaming here. Jungkook could not believe that Jin managed to log roughly 100 hours into the notoriously difficult PlayStation game Nioh. 100 hours! And he did this entirely while waiting backstage at their concert venues. He actually played it so much that he reached the final boss purely off the downtime he created by being so incredibly efficient with his concert prep. Like, no way, right? Jungkook summarized it perfectly. He said he simply cannot live like Jin. It's impossible. Jin is always the very first one to get ready and the absolute first one out the door when they leave. Plus, he's highly responsible. The second they get in the shared car, Jin immediately demands Jungkook put his seatbelt on, jokingly telling him, "If you don't want to die, wear your safety belt." It really establishes this deep, deep respect between the bandmates. Jin handles his mean job flawlessly, earns every single second of his gaming time, and still keeps the younger members in check.
Section 4. Reflections on the music. But hey, beyond the video games and the pickleball, this explainer wouldn't be complete without touching on the actual musical core of the tour, because the way they process their art has matured so significantly. J-Hope shared this really touching insight about RM. He mentioned that he had quietly watched RM's live stream the day before, where RM was breaking down the creation of their album. And J-Hope pointed out that by RM explaining his creative process to the fans like that, it actually gave the live performances on this tour an entirely new, deeper layer of meaning.
As for J-Hope's own creative process during the tour, his focus was razor sharp. He explained that rather than getting totally overwhelmed by the sheer size of the entire set list, he zeroed in on perfecting his specific parts. He highlighted key performances for tracks like Two Pointer and Aliens, and he specifically noted how he intentionally took a step back to support Jungkook, who was really doing the heavy lifting, taking the lead on the track Hooligan. It's honestly a masterclass in teamwork, knowing exactly when to shine yourself and when to step back and support your bandmate to make sure every single stage feels dynamic and fresh for the fans.
Section 5. A heartfelt thank you. As we enter the final chapter of this explainer, we really have to look at how both of these members chose to end their broadcasts, because the core sentiment driving both streams was just this overwhelming, deep gratitude. Jungkook delivered a remarkably sincere sign-off. I mean, despite visibly fighting sleep and playfully complaining about his messy hair, he still made sure to give a formal 90-degree bow to the camera. He thanked the fans from the bottom of his heart and made a promise that once he was back in Korea, he would return to doing a lot more gaming live streams. It was just a super sweet promise to keep that connection going. So, the crucial point is that J-Hope had a deeply emotional realization of his own. Think about it. After a long hiatus and completing their military service, to come back out and still receive this massive, unwavering love from the fans, it completely blew him away. He wanted to make it absolutely clear to everyone watching that every single one of the 7 members still fiercely loves the stage, and they literally leave every ounce of energy out there for the audience.
But of course, it wouldn't be a true BTS broadcast without a little bit of technical chaos at the very end. Right as J-Hope was trying to deliver his beautiful, heartfelt goodbyes, the hotel internet started failing on him, leading him to hilariously yell out, "Why is this Wi-Fi so rude?" And meanwhile, over in Jungkook's stream, someone started knocking on his door, and they rapidly plotted this incredibly chaotic escape to a Santa Monica amusement park. It was honestly the perfect, authentic, and slightly messy way to officially end a massive tour.
Which leaves us with this final thought. They've conquered stadiums all over again, they've found a real balance in their backstage lives, and they've returned with an even deeper appreciation for their art and, of course, their fans. So, with this massive post-military tour officially finished and all these new passions discovered, what is BTS's next era going to look like? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I definitely encourage you to ponder just how high this group is going to continue to fly.